trying to get some practice in for today's big match. I've got to perform on the soccer field and in the kitchen. After the game today, a few of my mates are coming over to have a delicious organic meal and celebrate what I'm sure will be a stunning victory. Hi, I'm Antony John, the Manic Organic, and welcome to my farm. As you can probably tell from my soccer playing inabilities, I don't have a whole lot of time to practice here. Today should be a busy day. Hey guys. Hey.
Hi.
No kissing in the field. My farm hands are busy getting ready for a delivery of greens to the Stratford restaurants, and I'm in charge of haricot vert. And because it's very fancy, they gave it a French name, which means bean green. They're going to be the main ingredient in today's salad, along with new potatoes and some organic basil. It should be delicious, so stick around. Now, not everybody has a large-scale organic farm to grow their vegetables on, so my talented garden gnomes have created this beautiful backyard-sized organic plot that we can demonstrate seeding techniques in. Kind of like the south of France meets the south of Ontario. Waiter, could I have a bottle of rosé, please? Well-drained soil is critical for growing beans. Two things you can add to your soil to help improve that are sand and stone dust. You can work them in with one of these garden cultivators, just into the top layer of soil. And that'll help the water drain away quickly. One of the most important things to remember when planting green beans is soil temperature. Get yourself one of these little soil thermometers. Test the temperature at the depth you're going to plant your seeds. With haricot vert, it's about 1/2 inch deep. The beans have to be in soil that's about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, 16 degrees Celsius. Otherwise, they just won't germinate properly. They'll mold under the soil. And Mom, remember, keep this thermometer outside, okay? It's just for the garden. The other thing that we like to do is plant out our rows using row markers. My dad's a draftsman, so I've got to have nice straight lines. Plant your row out here, and with a shovel, make your line about 1/2 inch deep. An important consideration when you're growing organically is to look for bean seed that's untreated, because most of the commercial varieties are treated with a fungicide like Captan, and that's a no-no for organic gardens. For haricot vert, some of my favorites are Maxibel, like this. They are bred for great flavor and low fiber and low stringiness. So plant your beans a couple of inches apart in the warm soil. Firm them over with the back of your rake. Let the sun and the rain do the rest of the work, and in about 1.5 weeks, you should see the first beans starting to sprout up from the soil. Well, I tell you what, Raccoons is a real good connoisseur of green beans, and this little fella here, Rocky, him just dig these haricot vert. He can't say it very well because he's French, a little kind of off, you know, but he just loved these haricot vert beans. Just think of all the goodness he's getting today. Yeah. Oh, I'm getting the most lovely back massage right now. You wouldn't believe. Just a little lower, Rocky. Give him just a pinch between my cheek and gum. Beans are one of the great vegetables to start with in your organic garden because they're fairly easy to grow. There's hardly any insect pests and very little disease problems. There's thousands of varieties of beans. They're really good for you. They're loaded with vitamin A and C, and some of the dried varieties are even high in protein. Fantastic. Let's see if there's any more beans ready to harvest. Haricot vert, with their fresh, crisp taste, have a flavor that typifies the best of summer. A taste that's hard to find with conventionally grown beans. Let's expose the seamy underbelly of green bean growing. The kind you're going to find in the grocery store are grown by large-scale growers. They're getting paid by the pound, and they have to pay people to pick them or use expensive machines. So they're going to push the line a little bit by picking heavier beans. We don't need them that heavy. And this is probably the size you're going to see in the stores. They tend to get tough and fibrous at this size, and you have to cook them into flaccid submission. What we want is something that's tender and tasty. And we pick them at this size when they're much more tender and delicate. And speaking of harvesting, I better get some beans for tonight's dinner. Now there is a technique to harvesting green beans because the stems are very brittle on the plants. So you want to support the plant, hold on to the stem with one hand, and lift the bean up towards you. And that separates it from the stem without tearing the plant itself. They're usually found underneath the plant, so you've got to pull the leaves up and go all the way around the plant. And one bean plant yields quite a few beans, and you'll have to pick them about a day or two apart because they grow really fast in summer heat, and you don't want them to get too stringy and big. Well, about 17 down, 7,000 to go. Now while we've been doing all this talking about beans, the weeds have been growing, so I better get in there and tackle some of them.
Back in the old days before the widespread use of pesticides and herbicides, food producers relied on a tractor like this to do their weeding. This is my prized 1949 Alice G tractor.
It does about 600 miles to the gallon. Sometimes weed control on an organic farm requires a little more drastic measures.
Get your appetites ready. We're going to harvest some new potatoes and organic basil for our pesto bean salad. And we'll spin over to see two garden insects. One good and one evil.
Got the beans done? Time to move on to the potatoes for tonight's recipe. When you grow vegetables on a scale the way we do for a market garden, you need a battery of hand tools, each one of them suited to a particular task. Today we're going to be digging potatoes, so we'll go through what we need for that. A lot of people think a shovel might be the thing to do, but you're going to be shoveling a lot of dirt unnecessarily, and it's going to be mixed in with the potatoes. The idea is to separate the dirt from the potatoes as soon as you start doing the work. You may as well save your back. This is what we need, is something a bit more sturdy like this. This is a stainless steel garden fork. It's got heavy-duty tines on it, and it's got a steel shaft that goes all the way up the handle. So when you do put it in the ground and lever on it, you can apply a lot of force without it breaking. I need about 3 pounds of potatoes for our pesto salad tonight, so I'd better get going. Potatoes are great plants to grow. What goes on above the ground tells you what's going on under the ground. When the potato first starts flowering, it's setting tubers underneath the hills. When the flowers fade and the leaves start turning to brown, the new potatoes start getting ready. Let's go see if these guys are ready for tonight's dinner. When you're digging potatoes, put the fork about a foot away from the stems of the plant coming out of the ground. Buried treasure.
In the potato patch, the potential for evil lurks behind every leaf.
Potato beetles are the #1 problem when you're growing potatoes. They're going to eat your plants right down to the stalks in a short space of time if you don't take care of them right away. All you need is a little soapy water for these fellas. Just pick them off the plant and give them their swimming lesson. Now I'm a reasonable man. Live and let live is what I always say. But when I see one of you little blighties eating my potatoes, that's like stealing, innit? You disgust me, you're filthy. You need to clean yourselves up. You need to take a bath, you do. Oh, what's that you say? Oh, Mr. Logan, we haven't brought our water wings. Oh, but Mr. Logan, we haven't got our bathing suits. Oh dear, we have got a problem, haven't we? Maybe you should have thought about that before you ate my potatoes.
This little guy, or big guy, is artichoke, a garden spider. Usually you don't start seeing them until around August, but they're a great friend to have in your garden because they eat up all kinds of aphids and flying insects that would otherwise harm your crops. So leave the spiders be and appreciate them for what they are.
We grow lots of different kinds of basil on our organic farm. Each contributes its own color and aroma to our salad mixes. We have purple basil, Thai basil, Genovese basil, and my favorite, lemon basil. But today we're going to use Genovese basil for pesto. If you're going to grow organic basil at home, make sure that you use untreated seeds and make sure that you use a potting soil that doesn't have a starter fertilizer added to it. When you're harvesting basil, just pick the larger leaves, not these flower tops, because that'll make your pesto bitter. And while the basil plant's growing, you can pinch off these flower tops, otherwise the plant will go to seed. Okay, well, I'm gonna put my farm on hold for a while. I've got to go to my soccer game. It's my call to glory.
What da, boys? Sorry I'm late.
No, this is the Stratford Old Timers soccer team that I play for. All of us are supposed to be and are well past 35. But what we lack in speed, we make up for in intensity.
Okay, as ready as I'll ever be.
Let's go.
Come on, team.
Notice, gentlemen, that there's a distinct lack of hair in this team, which is a bit of a concern. So that's why Antony keeps his in such pristine condition.
I lose count on that.
Now that I've worked up an appetite, we're going to celebrate our victory. It's off to the market for some fresh bread. It'll be delicious with the organic pesto, green bean, and new potato salad.
Like markets all over the world, the Stratford Farmers Market is a place where people come to meet other friends. It's a real community here. It's not just about buying groceries, it's about buying fresh, locally grown produce. Nothing goes with pesto salad like Italian bread, and the best bread around is in Stratford Farmers Market inside. I'm gonna go get some right now. Good morning, Barb.
Morning, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm willing to trade you some of my greens for 2 of your fabulous bread loaves today. Focaccias.
So one of each?
Bless you, yep. Let me check, see if it's the real article here. Oh, this is one of the most sought-after items in the Stratford market. Fresh bread made by Barb and Alan, and it looks today like it's selling like hotcakes.
Hey, well done, mate. Good game today.
Well done. We're celebrating a convincing victory on the soccer field today with my mate Philip Horner, and we're also celebrating the first green beans and new potatoes off my farm. Now, Phil's a kitchen project manager, and he also had a pub at one time. He had a cheese shop at one time. Knows his way around his food, see like. Today we're going to be making a pesto salad with haricot vert and lovely new potatoes.
I'll just finish these off for you then, pal.
Good.
I think I got the tail on that one.
I'm going to be making a basic pesto recipe. We start with garlic and chop it up in the food processor first. Okay, that's fine enough. Now I'm going to add some toasted pine nuts and a pinch of salt and a cup of nice fresh organic basil, and then add about a half a cup of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, that looks like it's just about done. Have a try.
Let's have a taste and see if it's
Up
any
to
good.
standard.
So you need a bit more pepper on it.
Always.
Sorry, mate.
Always.
Just give it another whiz. I can do that.
Oh, clever, very clever. How long did you go to cooking school for that one?
You know what, mate?
Okay, you deal with that.
I'll deal with this. You
I'll
want
take the potatoes. So,
Okay.
do you know who else is coming today?
Fatty,
Yeah.
Chezzy, their wives, and a load more beer with a bit of luck.
Now, you don't want to put too much water in. You're not trying to drown the potatoes. Just poach them.
Good stuff.
I'll take care of the beans. We're going to steam these haricot vert. You know, they cook better if you orient them all in the pan counterclockwise, I find.
Yeah, of course they do.
Yeah, whatever.
My mum would steam these for about an hour. How long are you going to do it for, mate?
I think probably about a minute ought to do, Phil, actually.
They'll be raw, lad.
Now we're going to take care of the potatoes, which we've got some already cooked here. And we're going to add the secret ingredient, duck fat.
Smashing.
Oh, listen to that sizzle. Lovely, lovely.
Just see if that's hot enough, mate.
Plenty hot. Potatoes are cooking nicely. A little bit of coarse salt. If you can't get duck fat, then just use a little bit of lard or some olive oil. That'd be fine. But duck fat gives you a lovely, clear, crispy brown color on the potatoes at the end. It's worth looking for. Okay, the beans are done. And pesto's ready?
Pesto's all ready.
Great. When we come back, we'll put it all together and make our fabulous pesto salad with haricot vert and new potatoes. The potatoes have been crisped nicely in the duck fat. The beans have been steamed. I've tossed them in a little bit of butter to sweeten them up a little bit. And now it's time to bring it all together with the pesto. Put about 4 or 5 of these spoons in here. That's good.
Yep.
And to big up the flavor, we're going to put some goat cheese in here as well. Ooh. Produced by a farmer just down the road from us. It's good to have friends in the farming business, you know. Okay, let's give this all a toss. Make sure we get that pesto coating and the goat cheese all around.
Let's have a smell at that, mate, because it looks great.
Hey, Fiona.
Actually, I think that's Fiona's here.
Oh, okay.
Very well. Good. Great. Come on, guys.
right, well, while they're getting settled, I think we can plate this. Pesto, the goat cheese, beautiful potatoes, and those crunchy little green beans. Make your teeth go.
Nice dish.
Yeah, well, somebody's birthday coming up.
Perfect lunch for a perfect day, mate.
Isn't that great? Okay.
Wow, pesto salad with green beans and new potatoes, garnished with our neighbor's goat cheese. All of it organic and fresh from our farm fields today. Crispy, creamy potatoes, the crunchy green beans, and the aroma of the basil pesto all come together to celebrate a high summer day. I love sharing a simple meal like this with simple friends like Phil, Paul, and Martin. Still, I think their beautiful wives appreciate the extra work organic produce takes. Playing soccer professionally requires the ability to read the rhythm of the game. Playing soccer with the over 35s requires the ability to read a pub menu after the game. You know, some days growing organic vegetables seems more like play than work. And it's a toss-up whether I'd rather grow turnips or play with my mates. But in both cases, it's all about getting the best out of a group of smelly vegetables before they reach their best before date.
Until next time on the Manic Organic, I'm Antony John, a man outstanding in his field.